Hello everyone, welcome to another video, welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Comics, and today we have the perfect fit for my little series here. Today I want to talk about the best Batman series, not only of the 90s, definitely of the 90s, but I would argue ever. When it's all said and done, when you take into account everything that's part of this, I don't know, there's a discussion there. Today I want to talk about the Batman Adventures. There are a lot of arguments nowadays about how manga is destroying comic books and how manga sales just put comics to shame and comics are dying everywhere and manga is destroying comic books. They are, listen, Demon Slayer sold 80 million copies in 2020. That was more than the top 3 best manga series of the past 3 years combined. Demon Slayer alone destroyed manga a couple of years ago. Manga is destroying manga. They're just selling so much, man. But I don't want to talk about that. And I am not gonna say that, oh, comics are dying. Comics aren't dying. Unless you're comics done by Aftershock, then yeah, probably. Okay, listen, I'm coming up with a cold and I just don't know what this video is about. So, a lot of arguments about how manga is destroying comic books, about the success that manga is actually seriously enjoying right now, and about the greater relationship between manga and anime, and how anime is made to promote the manga series, and they really have created such a wonderful relationship between the two mediums. You read a manga series, you want more, hey, there's an anime series. You watch an anime series, you want more, hey, here are countless tankobon continuing the story where the anime couldn't catch up yet, you know? So yeah, that's absolutely great. And a lot of discussion nowadays about how could comics follow that example. But here's the thing, comics not only had that relationship, they actually had an improved version. Because during the 90s, where Batmania was running rampant, we had the Batman movie, the Batman Returns, we had the absolute perfect Batman animated series. We also had the Batman Adventures running alongside the Batman animated series, but here's where it actually improved on the manga anime relationship. The Batman animated series was its own thing. The Batman Adventures comics continued those stories but actually told new ones. You were watching the animated series, you loved everything about it, obviously, because again, it really was perfect. You wanted more, wanted to read more. Here you go, the Batman Adventures, new stories, in touch with the animated series, keeping that same momentum, that same sense of Batman that we got in the animated series, but now in comics form. The absolute perfect time to be a Batman fan. Everything was connected. In 92, yes, we got the Batman animated series, we got the Batman Returns movie, so of course the Batman Adventures comics would star the Penguin and Catwoman, and like I said, just grabbing the same style and tone from the animated series. It was just so good. I mean, you were watching the cartoon, it was over, you went to bed and grabbed a comic, and here you go, another great adventure. Just building on the basis started off by the animated series, again keeping the same tone and most importantly keeping the same quality, because like I've started off this video talking about how manga is beating comics in sales, this obviously a great solution to that, and a great copy of that manga anime relationship, but you need the quality. Like I said, this really was the best Batman series back then and even now, man. Keeping the quality from the animated series as its basis, it just built upon that and created so many memorable stories. Even these first ones, they're not groundbreaking by any means, but just showing more of the characters as we know the characters. They didn't mess around with them. They didn't want to subvert expectations. They just wanted to tell clear, specific Batman stories, and that's exactly what we got here. Of course, for all ages, easy enough for kids to understand, but deeper, having something for the grown-ups. Like I said, this was just perfect. And while every issue was its own story, some of them definitely had bigger narratives. I mean, the first three, we see a Penguin here, we will see Catwoman. It's all connected, and of course, it's all leading up to the Joker. They even have this nice running gag. So, the issue starts off with the Penguin here having a nice dinner with his henchman, and they get a present, a huge TV with an enigmatic figure. Who could it be? And while Joker tries to be very in the shadows, one of his own henchmen lights up the lights, and the guys can clearly see him. And it's like, I thought I told you to leave the light off. And again, a very simple, nothing amazing joke, but it's just the fact that they were so proud of it that they continue to do it. In the second issue, where Catwoman receives the giant TV, and of course the enigmatic figure, and of course the light comes on again, and Joker just blam, another one. But like I said, the great stories with these great characters. Batman, of course, with the greatest Rose Gallery, and the series absolutely took advantage of this. I mean, I don't have enough issues here. These are the DC Classics reprints that we got a couple of years ago. But man, as the series went along, we saw every 22nd issue of the series, because we got the Batman Adventures, then we got the Batman and Robin Adventures, then we got the new Gotham Adventures, and so on. And for every 22nd issue, we got a Two-Face story, and every time, man, it was absolutely wonderful. Just going deep into the character and what made them so endearing. and why we call the Batman's Rogues Gallery the greatest one of all comics, and using those characters to tell some truly amazing stories, like I've said, definitely for all ages, simple enough for kids to understand and definitely enjoy, but also mature and deep enough for the older crowd. And I'm using mature in the actual right way. There's no nonsensical violence here. There are just serious topics. After the first 3 issues, after Batman takes care of the Joker, issues 4 and 5 are basically a 2-issue story arc with the Scarecrow, where the Scarecrow basically makes everyone in Gotham illiterate, and of course chaos starts reigning supreme. And why he does that, and just so good. Of course, the Scarecrow, Professor Crane, is just losing hope in the education system, and as a professor, he's seeing everyone basically getting dumber and dumber. And his solution for that, while obviously a very extreme one, is to show the powers that be, is to show those people in charge that can actually make a change. What would happen if everyone really got stupid? I mean, hey, you want to keep people dumb, you want to keep the budget for education at the lowest you can get away with it. You want to keep teachers underpaid and schools with just the worst conditions that again you can get away with it. Here's where that will lead to. And it's such a lovely, I mean lovely of course, horrible things actually do happen in here, but it's a lovely way of bringing such a serious topic to comics and having a discussion about it. We saw those 2 issues with the Penguin and Catwoman having an art style fitting for the animated series. They were definitely going for that. Well, in this Scarecrow story, we definitely get a more comic book-y art style. There's a lot more lines in this. Definitely fitting, because, I mean, like I've talked about it, it's a more mature story arc, and it definitely needs, I don't know, a bit deeper of an art style. Just look at this. Just absolutely beautiful. And again, how these, the first 2 issues perfectly fit those storylines. These 2 issues definitely use an art style, definitely fitting for this story arc. And just having the common sense and knowing when to use this. I mean, it might sound like something, well, duh, but I mean, look at today's comics. This simple fact is really overlooked. It was definitely present in these comics. Like I said, just perfectly understanding the Batman tone that was popular back then, and the perfect tone actually for Batman. Issue 6 here with this panel here, and look at it. Tell me this isn't just peak Batman. When you think of the character, don't you think of something like this? Well, the Batman Adventure series had this, and it gave this to us. Just such a good representation of the character, having so much fun, again, while telling some really cool stories here. I mean, just after that Scarecrow one, we get this one where Bruce Wayne is accused of murder. Actually, before all the Bruce Wayne fugitive stuff, and it's such a whodunit story. Again, going for that older crowd. This is basically a Hitchcock movie in comics form. And like I said, the writers, the artists, just the creators of this series having so much fun with it. Here we see Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, come on, man. Again, this is the level of quality we should be expecting. And getting back to how I started my video, if we are gonna start arguing about how manga is destroying comic books and oh, how could comic books win this fight, this is how. Keep a tight relationship between your mediums, but definitely, most importantly, keep the quality there and tell worthwhile stories. Tell a story like the one we got in the Batman Adventures issue 7. Here we see Killer Croc fighting Batman, but it's not about that. It's about Killer Croc being a wrestler, not having any issue with Batman, minding his own business, trying to better himself as a wrestler, and seeing his whole career crash when he actually loses a fight. And we see the struggle in him trying to find himself, asking, who am I if I can't be this? And listen, I mean, we saw that in real life when Ronda Rousey, I actually don't know her name, I think it's Ronda Rousey, just was beating everyone, was winning every fight, and then she lost, and then she went on TV and just tried to tell everyone, I don't know who I am anymore. That's an actual issue that these people have, and the fact that the creators of the series managed to bring that discussion up using these amazing, of course, characters. Again, having this discussion, touching this absolutely very mature, and again, using the term correctly, very mature topic, telling these stories, using the stories to better the character, to make us love them even more. Again, this isn't about Killer Croc fighting Batman. They really don't fight in this issue. They just stare down a little, and just Batman, having caught the actual bad guy, just lets Killer Croc go with his belt and just lets him be, again, trying to be a better character, a better person, doing what he wants to do, what he knows to do best. Just perfect, man. And I don't have it here, but the first annual, we get a Mr. Freeze story arc in there, and oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's only 10 pages long, but it uses the absolute perfect depiction of the Mr. Freeze character that we got in the animated series as its basis, and it builds upon that to tell a wonderful, heartbreaking story. It's still 30 years on. it's still one of my favorite Batman stories. And again, it's like 10 pages, man. It's so beautiful. In perfect contrast, I mean, again, talk about what we have nowadays. In perfect contrast to that Mr. Freeze One More Day, what? That Mr. Freeze One Bad Day graphic novel that we got a few months back, where they just ruined the character with that dumb story because they just wanted to subvert expectations. And it's like, hey guys, how about you don't try to surprise us by telling us everything we loved actually sucked and how you know better? How about you take everything that we loved and use it as a basis to tell even better stories? How about that? Let's try that for a change, and then let's see if manga will outsell comics. Of course, there's just so much more to talk about when it comes to the Batman Adventure series, and I promise I will be making more videos on this because, like I've said, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe this is the best Batman series. I'll definitely make videos on the adventures continue, both season 1 and season 2, because tomorrow we'll be getting season 3 and I'm definitely hyped for that. I definitely want to talk about Mad Love, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm's magnum opus when it comes to Batman and Harley Quinn and the Joker, and how this trio just forms their relationship, how connected each one of them is to each other. I definitely want to talk about issue 12, Harley Quinn's first appearance in comics, and such a wonderful Batman issue, because it's not about Batman. Actually, I actually want to talk about it right now here. So, issue 12, the Batgirl adventures, because Batman is missing from Gotham, going on another adventure. And here we see Barbara talking to her father and just daydreaming about how awesome it must be to be Batman, to have all these adventures. And this is actually right from the pages of Batgirl's first appearance in like the Detective Comics issues from what, the early 80s, late 70s. And back then, Jim's whole point was that, wait, you want to be Batgirl? Who ever thought about that? A girl fighting crime. Come on, girls belong in the kitchen. Something along those lines. It was kind of stupid. I love my classic comics, but it was actually kind of stupid. But here, Jim actually sits down with Barbara and actually explains that, listen, he of course admires Batman, but he by no means wishes to be him, because all it takes is one bullet, and that's it, no more adventures. And just a father talking to his daughter. Just, you can see the love through the pages and through these lines. Just from having a heart-to-heart discussion, trying to teach her, of course caring about her well-being, and it's just so beautiful. And of course, I mean, it's a comic, like I said, for all ages. Here we have Jim being his most serious, trying to instill something into his daughter, and his daughter waiting for him to leave so she can grab her Batgirl costume and be Batgirl and get into all sorts of trouble. absolutely wonderful issue. And this is what the Batman Adventure series represents, man. And this is what I'm gonna talk about in this is why I created my Saturday Morning Comics series, and this is why I'm gonna do a whole bunch of future videos again talking about this, because like I said, I truly believe this is the best Batman series, of course, from the 80s. I mean, there's no argument about that. But honestly, if we actually sit down and think about it, we kind of will see that, hey, maybe all time. But for now, that was it for my video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and definitely look forward to more videos. Again, go back, watch some of my older ones. I have already a ton of them, all based around my honest love for comic books. If you wanna see more episodes from my Saturday Morning Comic series, check out my review of Justice League Infinity, the sequel to the Justice League Unlimited animated series. It should be up on the screen right now. If not, it's definitely in the description of this video. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.